Hey dumplings, it's Dave Desai. Welcome back to my channel. Today we do have another BTS military update for you, but I definitely think I have a little bit of a different perspective now. Sort of, we'll talk about it, we'll get into it. The chairman in Korea has said something. He has spoken. So don't worry, I have it all for you. We also have Taehyung seen with a new job. Maybe. And it caused armies to be thirsting. What else is new? We'll talk about that, we'll get into all that. So let's jump into the tea. If you are new here and you're interested in this type of stuff, please make sure to hit the subscribe button and that notification bell to be notified anytime a new video drops. And if you're a hater, like to be the first, leave a hate comment, please make sure to hit the subscribe button and that notification bell also so you can be the first to do so. Now let's get into it. The first thing let's talk about is kind of the special treatment, or at least the talking of that treatment with BTS in the military. Basically, to sum up so far what had happened with this, because a lot has happened with this, BTS has to enlist in the military. This is just part of Korean culture. All men above the age of 18 or so have to go. There isn't really too much they can do to be exempt from this, and only few people are exempt from this. And it's even likely that they wouldn't even want to do anything about it. They would want to go. And they seem happy with the idea about serving their country. Now, Jin initially was the one who was supposed to enlist by the end of this year, and this would be the last year for him to enlist. The government did have a meeting about the enlistment age, so they didn't grant Jin special treatment directly. But now the enlistment age altogether has been kind of moved back, and pushed back to, I believe, 35? Don't quote me on that. I think it was 29 before, and now it's 35. Again, my memory's kind of foggy on this, but something along those lines. I definitely did make a video talking about this, but this was like a month ago, so more details on that video. Anyway, so Jin wouldn't necessarily be receiving special treatment. According to the government, this seemed more like a general change that was going to be made. But then after that, that sparked the conversation of if BTS should be exempt altogether, which had no avail. The people who were lobbying for it, it didn't work. And then they spoke about enlisting BTS altogether all at once. So altogether in 2025. So they'll do 1 or 2 years in 2025, and then they'll probably leave in 26 or 27. I don't know if the services are usually a year or 2 years, I'm not sure. So I personally felt like maybe that was just the end of it. But it seemed like there was still a lot of stuff that was very much still in debate, which I don't know why. Either have BTS go or have them not go. I honestly would be fine with either one. It obviously doesn't affect me if they can't go, but it does affect the Korean nation. So if you are in Korea, definitely be more vocal about it. Say your opinions. I do believe Korea is somewhat of a democracy, meaning you do have a right to say something. Not BTS specifically, but you do have a right to vote on military law. So definitely exercise that right if you have it. So the Democratic Party of Korea, the chairman Lee Nak-yeon, I hope I am pronouncing that name correctly, was speaking at their little fancy speaking event, you know, where all these important people go to do their speaking. And Lee talked about the issue and how he felt the issue should be handled. Lee talked about how he feels very cautious about this, and that this is obviously a sensitive issue. He said this: I feel cautious about it because we don't know how the public will respond to it, and I'm not sure if the political community is raising the issue first when BTS themselves don't want it. The government has definitely been talking about this a lot. I don't know if BTS is aware of what's going on. They haven't spoken about this at all, and they haven't added really any of their feelings to it. I think if you're going to consider changing the law or changing the rules for BTS, I think you should talk to BTS about it, because maybe they'll have some opinions and thoughts on their own. If BTS has to go anyway, why not go during the pandemic when they can't tour anyway? Just do a year while pandemic is going on, get it over with. But instead it seems like the government is making those decisions for them. Lee continued by saying, if BTS ends up serving in the military as planned, their activities can elevate the status of our country even further, and they can take on role of sending out messages of hope. I think this is true. I also think that it can definitely bring a lot of awareness to the Korean military, and that can be a very good thing, for Korea at least. Bringing more lights to the politics of Korea, if that is something that they want to do, and maybe also encourage more people to get involved in Korean politics. It's definitely a good thing in light of the country. So if you are someone who cares a lot about Korea, this is definitely seen as a good thing. Lee also added on and said, I don't want the issue of BTS and their military service to flow in the direction of where politicians want it to go. Now, I definitely feel like I was missing a little bit of information here, because I kept looking and I couldn't really find any information on what politicians want to happen with BTS. What is the direction? If you know, please let me know. And then finally, Lee ends the speech by saying that he hopes the matter is settled within the members themselves, but I personally don't know inevitably what that will mean. I think maybe he purposely kept it kind of open-ended just so the discussion continues. But does that mean that BTS will get a chance to choose if they choose to go or not? I have no idea. Is there a law passing for this? I also have no idea. I wanted to see what people were saying online on the Tweenster about this. One person wrote, better not see any K-pop Bs getting pressed over this. This is a choice made by government, not the members themselves. They never asked for military privilege. Again, this is a choice of the government. I totally understand this, and I do think that at this point, maybe BTS is purposely staying out of this conversation to avoid controversy, just so that something isn't seen as them wanting to not go, and they're just seen as complying with the law if they end up having to go, which I do think they will obviously go. I think maybe this is why Big Hit hasn't released a statement. They just don't want to get involved, or maybe they have and we just don't know, because would that be public? But I definitely don't think Big Hit or BTS is behind the scenes trying to influence the law in any way. I think they are just going to go with whatever ends up happening. It's really sad because if I was in BTS's position and I turned on the news and I saw the freaking chairman of the government sitting there talking about me, whether or not I should enlist or not, I'd be like, well, I have to say something. You're talking about me. I deserve to speak my truth, you know? But obviously if BTS does, they can face backlash and all that stuff, so that's unfortunate. But BTS will do the right thing. That I am sure of, whatever it is. If I see BTS in the news actually enlisting and going, or if I see them in the news being exempt, I'm going to be happy for them either way. Taehyung recently has been on various TVs, commercials, and news as well. This is for the Samsung commercial. This is the commercial where you'll literally see Taehyung be a work of art, a moving statue. If you have not seen the commercial, we're going to talk about it. It's basically Taehyung holding a piece of cake, and then that's it. That's enough to honestly make me want to buy the phone, really. I'm kidding. So Taehyung is like scribbling down on one of the new Samsung phones, putting his recipe down, whatever, and then is just like baking a cake or something. And this phone has a feature where if you scribble kind of slanted or sideways, it'll just straighten it for you. Dude, that's the last thing I care about. If my scribbles are slanted, if I can still read them, then I'm fine with it. But apparently this matters to Taehyung, okay? So he is done making his cake, and of course he decides to eat it. He decides to take a bite, and everything just slides off the cake. All the cream, all the fruit. Everyone online is freaking out over Taehyung the chef. Taehyung the baker. He's definitely an all-round talented person and can be whatever occupation he chooses to be. Can we take a moment to appreciate how he looks at this piece of cake? Oof, to be a piece of cake. He looks at that cake like it's his lover. Honestly, that's how I look at cake too. But I would love for Taehyung to look at me like that, you know? Do you agree? No, just me? If your partner don't look at you like that, divorce. Us armies are obviously going to be thirsting no matter what BTS does. It is absolutely insane. They could literally do a commercial selling rocks. Just like regular, boring rocks, and we'd be like, oh my god, I just bought these premium BTS rocks. Girl, check them out. You got one? I definitely want to see the general reaction to this commercial online. One person on the Tweetster wrote, Taehyung holding a cake. Taehyung holding his cake. How have I not noticed Taehyung's cake? I honestly do not mind seeing Taehyung hold any type of cake. And if by cake you mean me, then yes, I do not mind if he holds me. I would never complain about that. There was also this army that had this to say about the commercial. That's it. I said, that's it. Samsung really knows some strategies. My heart is too weak for this. Taehyung is just, oh. I honestly cannot handle either. Imagine being able to handle this. You have no soul. It's hot to imagine being the wife of like a chef Taehyung or like a baker Taehyung. Always making you these good baked goods and all that jazz. Also someone who could participate in jazz if he wanted to, you know. I also have to give a lot of props to the other members of BTS who participated in the commercial. They had some sexy moments as well. Suga has a sexy moment. Suga is a sexy moment. He was also a chef in there, and he also looked really hot. Imagine our little Yoongi cooking. Sorry, big Yoongi. I can't wait to see our boys do a lot more of these commercials. Let me know what you think. Let me know what your thoughts are. Leave it down in the comment section down below. Give this video a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'm featuring this comment right here. Thank you so much for leaving comments. And as always, I do have a Patreon. If you want to go over there and check out my Patreon, I have a lot of exclusive content over there that I can't post on here due to copyright, or they get blocked or things like that, so I do keep them over on my Patreon. You can get videos like music video reactions, performance reactions, ship reactions, also reality TV show reactions if you're into that. Lately, I've been doing In the Soup, so you can definitely go over there and check that out. Link in the top of the description down below. Also, anything you contribute over there gives back to this channel, helps make better videos in here and all that stuff, so make sure you check it out. There's also 2 videos that will appear on the screen at the end of the video. Click on one of those, and I'll see you over there. Bye.